Exchange. We've got our eye on the streamers for a look at developing stories this morning. I want to bring in Caroline Woods, senior markets correspondent. All right, streamers under pressure. Looks like this has to do, obviously, with tariffs coming. So catch people up on what's going on here.
Yes, entertainment stocks in general under pressure today. The latest target from President Trump's tariffs. Over the weekend, President Trump posted on Truth Social that he was going to impose a 100% tariff on movies produced outside of the U.S. because other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Obviously, we have seen that for, tax benefits and, different scenery for international locations. And obviously, some movies are filmed across multiple countries, even if some parts are here in the U.S., others might be internationally. But President Trump says Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat, saying we want movies made in America again. Interestingly enough, we did see Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick respond to the Truth Social post on X saying, we're on it. But what we don't know is if the tariffs will apply to movies on streaming services or those in theaters. Will they be calculated based on production or box office revenue? Also, some are pointing out that it's not as easy as imposing a tariff on an imported good. Foreign films are actually intellectual property and part of a global trade of services for which the U.S. is actually a net exporter versus the importer. So there's a lot of uncertainty still around these tariffs, the 100% tariffs on movies made outside of the U.S. But we are seeing weakness in Netflix, Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery, Lionsgate, Sony. Comcast has flipped positive. I will say, a lot of red arrows, but already off earlier lows if you take a look. So, kind of regaining some of those losses. I did see a Wedbush analyst was out with a note really highlighting a significant amount of risk for large studios, distributors, independent studios, talking about the risk that they face. They estimate that 75% of Netflix's overall content is produced internationally. Obviously, foreign language content typically produced internationally. A significant amount of the revenues come from Canada and the UK productions. So, it'll just be interesting to see how this plays out. The analyst over at Wedbush points out, realistically, most of Netflix's content is filmed by third-party studios, and the company has little control over the vast majority of the content produced. So also, who's paying these tariffs? So a lot of questions still. And then, of course, there's the risk that other countries could retaliate with, tariffs of their own. And we've already seen the Chinese government announce that it would moderately reduce the quota of U.S. movies they allow in the country. So, more questions than answers at this point.
That's what I wonder if that's why, you're seeing the clawback is because of the application of this would be incredibly difficult to do, it feels like.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of the overall consensus among the analysts that have weighed in and some industry experts that, I've been reading their opinions as well. But we are seeing some of these streaming names, the entertainment names, under pressure because obviously this could have a big impact if it goes through in the way in which, it seems like it could. So, TBD.
Exactly. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, more appropriate.